Don't think it, don't say it. 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 Oh, hey guys, Lytane here, and I'm quite a big fan of horror movies and the horror genre, suspense, thriller, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. So I recently watched a horror movie that I'd never seen before with perhaps one of the worst titles in the history of titles, but it did make me watch it for the title alone. So today I'm gonna see if The Bye Bye Man is worth it. The Bye Bye Man was released in 2017, and it tells the story of a mysterious entity known as the Bye Bye Man. The Bye Bye Man can get inside your head and can change the way you perceive reality, making you see things that aren't there or experience things that aren't real. When a reporter in the 70s finds out about this story, he digs into it and tries to find out more about it, but that probably wasn't a good idea. Fast forward to the present time and we meet up with our heroes. Douglas Smith plays Elliot, the main character. He and Lucina Laviscott, who plays John, the best friend, and Cressida Bonus, who plays Sasha, who is his girlfriend, all move into a nice and creepy house all by themselves, even though they're college students. How do they even afford this place? This place is massive. There's no way they could afford this. It's at this point that Elliot finds a drawer owned by that reporter, and inside of it is the mantra, "Don't think it, don't say it," written 1,000,000 times. Now that Elliot has seen the words and has the name inside of his head, the Bye Bye Man starts coming after him. Now he can't trust what he's seeing, and he tells his friends the name in hope that they can help him out with what's going on, but unwittingly, that just spreads the Bye Bye Man's presence. Now everybody's infected by the Bye Bye Man's curse, and Elliot is trying to figure out a way to either stop him or kill him or get rid of this curse once and for all, but will he do it, or will he say, "Bye Bye, Man"? Let me ask you a quick question. What are the first horror names that come to mind whenever you think about the horror genre? For me, it's stuff like Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Chucky, and the movies that they're attached to, Friday the 13th, Halloween, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play. These movies and their names are really well done. They instill a fear and they have a really good, symmetry to them. Then we have The Bye Bye Man. Oh my god, it is so silly. It sounds like a child wrote it. Like, a child is writing a story and they have to put a bad guy in there, so they write The Bye Bye Man. I cannot take that name seriously, and they say it throughout the whole film with this reverence to it, like he is this ultimate evil and he's causing so much pain and death and destruction, which he's doing, but the name, oh my god, how did that get past testing? You could have named him anything. You could have given him a name like John Smith, and already that is better than the Bye Bye Man. It doesn't even fit with the characterization of the thing. It's not like he says bye bye to you or, stuff like that. I don't understand why they called him the Bye Bye Man. How did they get through writing in what's supposed to be a horror movie? If this was like a tongue-in-cheek horror movie, like an Evil Dead where it's a lot more funny, that would make sense because they're having fun with it. But no, they're really trying to be serious here. And the main bad guy and the movie is called The Bye Bye Man. But titles aside, it's what the movie has inside of it that I'm going to actually be judging upon. If it was just the title alone, man, this gets top marks for being so silly. With the three main characters, I feel that there is some kind of chemistry between all three of them. They do feel like they're friends, and they do feel like they have something going for each other, unlike a lot of other lower grade horror movies where the cast just feels like they met the day before filming. Here I get a sense that they actually do like each other and they do have a history together, and a little bit is spoken about in some exposition, but most of it is not, and it's just done through the acting, which I do like. The acting, however, is very hit and miss, with more of it being on the miss side. Some of the action scenes and some of the horror elements are very well acted and very well done, but the majority of it just feels very flat. Like they didn't have enough emotion, they didn't have enough presence, and they didn't have enough of a supervision for their acting to really get a good performance out of what was going on around them. It's just kind of bland throughout the entire movie. It feels to me when the creators of this film were making it, they had all of these great ideas, but then when they started making the film, they realized that it costs too much money and it's too hard, and maybe they didn't have the right sets and the actors couldn't do it, and so they started to scale it back. There are a few good ideas in here, but it just feels like a very generic horror film. It starts off with some murders with very little context, and then it goes on to the characters not believing in anything, and then it goes to a seance, and then it goes to some creepy shots of a guy stalking Elliot because, you know, you gotta build up the Bye-Bye Man a little bit. And then it just falls apart from there, because the fact that the Bye-Bye Man can get into your head and make you see things, a lot of the things that we see on screen just aren't there, and they have this weird inconsistency to them, because you can look at something and then it's not really there, and then you're unsure what's really happening, and because of that they get away with a lot of sloppy editing, and they get away with a lot of sloppy plot because they can just explain it away like, oh, the Bye-Bye Man's making him see it. And there's so many tropes and there's so many cliches in this, it's just ridiculous. At one point when Elliot is researching the Bye-Bye Man, he loses track of time and he just like skips like a couple of hours of his life. Why? It didn't make any sense. It didn't even have any context. It's just sort of there. Or creepy sounds in the middle of the night where you can't see what's going on. Or a motif of trains and coins which aren't explained at all in the film, but I'll go on about that when we get to the Bye-Bye Man himself. That's not to say they didn't have any good ideas. I really did like the start of the film. Larry, the reporter, goes on a killing spree trying to stop anybody that knows the Bye-Bye Man's name, because he knows that it's going to be coming for everybody, and he's trying to stop anybody else learning about it and spreading this disease of sorts. It's all done in one long tracking shot, which is very hard to do and very impressive because they pull it off. The fact that he has to go through all the different rooms and he has to talk to different people, so everyone has to memorize their lines. He also kills them, so they have to get those blood splatters on the costumes and on the walls just right. Some of it looks a bit digitized, but still, the fact that they only had it in one take meant if they had to do another take, they would have to reset everything, including costumes and sets, and that would have taken a long time. So I really appreciate the effort that went into this first scene. But after that first really cool scene, the rest of the movie is just bland. The acting is bland, the set design is bland, the locations are bland, and everything about it is bland. The monster, the Bye-Bye Man, is given very little information, so you don't really know the rules or why he's doing it or how it spreads or anything like that. They imply that anything bad in the world is because of this. And it's such a strange thing because you have to say the Bye-Bye Man. Does it only work in English or does it work in other languages? Like, or also, if just somebody says to another person like, yeah, bye-bye man, does that inflict the Bye-Bye Man upon him? Or is it that you have to see it or hear about it in a specific way? Otherwise, a lot more people would be going on murder sprees and this would spread so much easier. I'm going to go into some spoilers now, talking about the Bye-Bye Man himself and the ending of the film, so if you do not want to hear any of that, skip to the time that you see on the screen, or else you're going to get some spoilers for this film, so you have been warned. So let's talk about the Bye-Bye Man himself. The design for him is fine. It looks like a Halloween costume with a budget, but honestly it serves the movie for what it is. What I didn't like though is this weird fleshy dog that he has beside him throughout most of the film, as it's just kind of there and it doesn't really do much. It like feeds on dead corpses and stuff. I don't really understand, and it looks really fake, and I probably think that that's where a lot of their budget went, to create this badly designed CGI dog. But like I said, what is the motive of the Bye-Bye Man? It seems that he wants to spread his influence around the world and, you know, infect everybody, make them kill themselves, make them go crazy, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But it gets more confusing when they don't explain the motifs of the character as well. There is this train that keeps getting referenced throughout the movie, and you have no idea what it's about, and it never gets explained. He also has a coin on him that usually signals when he's around, but again, you don't get a full explanation for it. A little bit of an explanation comes about when they say that he can take your life in a flip of a coin, like it's just random. But I didn't really get that sense in the film. It felt like he was always trying to get at them, and the more you feared him, the more he was around. By the end of the film, Elliot kills everybody that he told and eventually even kills himself so the name doesn't spread. I saw this ending coming from a mile away, but just before this, he's actually trying to fight the Bye Bye Man's influence on him by everything that he sees, and he knows it can't be real. Like when this lady gets set on fire, he's like, no, 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 this can't be real, this can't be real. And he fights it by just inaction. He just tries to not do anything about it, which gets flown out of the window pretty quickly when his girlfriend and his best friend are fighting each other, and then they are fully under the influence and they won't listen to him, so he has to kill them. So his one idea of having to stop the Bye Bye Man, which is just ignore him pretty much, didn't work very well, and it was kind of like a letdown. Like, there's no weakness to this guy, there's no anything to it. It's just really strange. After watching this film, I did some research into it, and the Bye Bye Man is based on a chapter of a book called The Bridge to Body Island. The character in the book goes blind and mute, and he lives in a train yard, and anybody that comes into the train yard he kills, and he cuts off their tongues and he sews them together, and from that he does some voodoo magic, and that creates a dog which becomes his seeing eye dog made out of tongues and eyeballs and shit. It's really weird, and I probably ruined the story a little bit, but that is such a cool and interesting idea, that he hunts people down because of where they are and stuff like that, and he creates this weird dog voodoo thing. And you can see so many elements of that story in this movie. The train motif makes a bit more sense if he is this guy that lives in a train yard. The coin makes sense because he's supposed to be poor, so he's always probably after money or something like that just to live. The weird CGI dog also makes a bit more sense if it was supposed to be his voodoo dog that helps him see around the world. In my opinion, if you haven't guessed it by now, the Bye Bye Man is not worth it. The entire movie is bland. The characters are bland, the acting is bland, the locations are bland, the story is bland. Everything about it is bland. The fact that they use so many cliches and tropes and uninteresting storytelling to show very uninteresting and uninspired things on screen is just baffling to me. Why would they go through such effort just to show nothing original? I really did like the first scene though. I thought it was a good scene, and it set me up to watch this film. I was actually excited. I'm like, wow, this little horror film started off really well. I'm excited to see where they're gonna go with this, and it just went nowhere. The fact that the Bye Bye Man is so poorly defined, and most of the interesting lore about him is not even in the film, which is baffling. Why wouldn't you put the interesting parts in the film? It's just so bland. He is such a poor villain. He's so ill-defined, and you don't even know why he's doing it, how he spreads, what his purpose is, and he's not even that fun to watch. He's probably the best character in the film though, which is saying a lot because he's only in a little bits of the film, but it's just bad. I cannot recommend this movie at all. In fact, if it were up to me, I think they should have named this film The Bland Man. So bad. Such a bad joke, but yeah, don't watch it. So guys, tell me what you thought about the Bye Bye Man. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was a great idea for a name for a movie, The Bye Bye Man? Or are you in the same camp as me and think it's incredibly stupid? I don't know how they named it The Bye Bye Man. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh gosh. But anyways, tell me what you think about this film, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! When I first saw the title for this film, The Bye Bye Man, I laughed, and then I thought, Bye 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 Man. Yeah, that should have been in the film. That would have made it fun, but no. Flash forward to the present time, and we meet up with our main heroes. Heroes. You know, they're like Oreos, you could digest them. Heroes. Might sound crazy, but don't watch this film, baby. Bye 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 Man.